What if I told you a convicted criminal is being rebranded as a political prisoner simply because she's rich, connected, and has friends in the media and parliament? That's exactly what Richard Tice is doing. Most people serve their sentence quietly. Lucy Connolly, who admitted inciting racial hatred during a riot, is getting a new law named after her. Now, Tice wants the public to overturn sentences with just 500 signatures. This isn't justice, it's power. And if we don't call it out, every well connected lawbreaker will have a blueprint for rewriting the rules. So here's the truth about Lucy Connolly, because some are desperate to whitewash the story. She isn't a cancelled mum. She's a 41-year-old childminder from Northampton, married to a former Conservative councillor. On the night of three young girls were stabbed in Southport, she told her 14,000 followers this. Post reached round about 300,000 people before she deleted it. That wasn't the heat of a moment rage, it was a call for violence in the middle of a national tragedy, and the court treated it accordingly. She pleaded guilty to inciting racial hatred under the Public Order Act and got 31 months. Not life, not 10 years, 2.5, with the part served on licence. The judge followed a hate crime guideline. Her appeal rejected. The Court of Appeal found no basis to cut the term. Clear cut. Yet here we are. Richard Tice, Suella Braverman, even Liz Truss falling over themselves to claim Lucy Connolly is somehow the real victim. Tice even went as far to write a new law in her name, Lucy's Law.
And that is why I bring this criminal cases review bill to the House under the 10-minute rule bill. What's known outside this House, Mr. Speaker, as Lucy's bill.
And then there's Rupert Lowe, who launched a government petition demanding her release and racked up over 100,000 signatures in just a few days. But instead of using his power as an MP to bring a debate or introduce a bill or even push for an inquiry, he left it to a website. Why? Because government petitions make headlines, but they don't require action. It's all performative, just like the rest of the campaign. If this was about justice, it'd be on the floor of the Commons, but it's not. It's about optics, a show of outrage with no substance behind it. This isn't free speech or persecution, it's a power network shielded its own, turning a criminal into a martyr. Lucy Connolly is not a political prisoner. She weaponised her platform to stir hate, and the courts held her accountable. That's justice working as intended. Here's what Tice won't tell you though. Lucy wasn't alone. At least 20 others were jailed for the same offence. Tyler Kay, for example, got 38 months, more than Lucy. No campaign, no law, no Tice. Why? Because Tyler isn't rich, isn't married to some Tory councillor, isn't politically useful. So let's just drop this broken system myth. It's a spin, power, narrative that says you're one of us, the rules don't apply. And that's exactly what Richard Tice is doing.
A serious incident that took place last week, about which I have grave concerns, she's very upset about. She has bruises from very tight handcuffs on her wrists. 5 days on, you can still see significant discolouring. Lucy is not a violent person. She is a calm, she's a calm individual, intelligent individual. I genuinely fear that she is actually being treated as a political prisoner for political purposes. It's a pretty serious thing to say.
No, Richard, she's not a political prisoner. She was convicted of inciting racial hatred during riots. That's not the same. That's not some misunderstood political stance. That's criminal behaviour with real-world consequences. You don't get immunity just because you come from money or went to the right dinner parties.
Someone in a fit of anger puts out a offensive, inappropriate, bad tweet for a few hours, calms down, apologises and withdraws that online information and tweet. But is then, because of that tweet, is then charged and sentenced in a very serious way. Potentially, Mr. Speaker, a sentence of some 31 months.
Ah yes, just a bad tweet. Except it wasn't just a tweet, was it? Here's some more. This is inciting racial hatred during one of the most volatile civil moments in recent history. It's not a social media faux pas, it's a threat to public order. Don't let him rewrite this as a tech mistake. This was a deliberate act of incitement.
People are being released from prison, given rights for a temporary licence for serious violent actions, serious theft. And Lucy is a country mile from those categories.
You can always find a worse crime with a shorter sentence. That's the game. But sentencing isn't a leaderboard. It's about intent, danger, and context. Lucy deliberately tried to stir up racial tension in the middle of a riot. The court saw that for what it was, a serious offence, and that's why she got 31 months.
I do think in someone like Lucy's case, she was wrongly advised by the initial defence team to plead guilty. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Those that pled not guilty and ignored that advice, their cases are coming up and they're having a very different judicial experience. So, yeah, I think in this case, there's a lot of concern amongst the British public that Lucy Connolly and others were the victim of two-tier justice.
You're absolutely right. This is two-tier justice because most people don't have an MP writing bills in their name for it. They don't have political parties crying foul when they get sentenced, and they definitely don't get TV interviews framing them as the victim of overzealous system. This is special treatment, just not in the way that you're pretending.
So I've put the threshold at 500 people, if 500 people sign a form to say they want the Criminal Cases Review Commission to relook at a sentence, not to relitigate the case, not to challenge the evidence or anything, but just to review the sentence.
This is how justice turns into a popularity contest. What happens when the far-right group of crowdsources support to get a violent offender's sentence reviewed? Or when influencers rile up thousands of followers for a convicted abuser? We already have review channels, the Attorney General, sentencing appeals and courts. This isn't reform, it's revenge dressed up as democracy.
Sign a form to say they want the Criminal Cases Review Commission to relook at a sentence, not to relitigate the case, not to challenge the evidence or anything, but just to review the sentence. And if that commission then looks at the sentence and says, yes, that's worth another, like a treble check, then that they would have the ability to have a treble check, whether a sentence is too lenient or whether it is too harsh.
If you're not challenging the judgment, then why are you using convicted criminals' name as your rallying cry? Why frame an entire system as broken because of one well-connected person got a sentence that she didn't like? This isn't a triple check. This is a backdoor appeal system built to bend the justice for the loudest and most powerful people in the room. So let's be clear, Lucy Connolly was convicted based on the law, the facts and the evidence. Calling her a political prisoner isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. Because if we start rewriting sentences based on public petitions and political connections, then we haven't improved justice, we've just dismantled it. Because if this is what justice looks like now, if MPs can rewrite the rules for their friends while the rest of us have to serve our full sentences, then we're not dealing with democracy anymore. We're dealing with a system built on status, spin and selective outrage. And speaking of outrages, Sarah Poachin just stood up in Parliament and delivered one of the most unhinged conspiracy theories we've heard all year. So if you thought this video was mad, wait until you hear what she said and how the Foreign Secretary shut her down. And that's in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.